reporters don't write answers. I write answers. I was asked a series of questions. I've answered them very easily. Very easily.
No, we do that next week. They're all done. We haven't even talked about it.
President Trump revealing new details today about his cooperation in the special counsel's investigation. Does it suggest an end is near? I know who I'm going to ask about that. Joining me now, MSNBC legal analyst Katie Phang and former federal prosecutor Nelson Cunningham. So welcome to you both. Katie, what do you think? We heard the president saying the team has yet to even look at the possibility of sitting down with Mueller. What do you think the odds are that the legal team says, green light, let's do that?
That sit down's not going to happen. But what's really frustrating about this is you hear Trump say, I answered all the questions, my lawyers didn't help me, it was so easy. Well, Alex, if it's so easy, why doesn't Trump just sit down with Mueller and answer the questions directly? But then you and I both know there's no way that Trump's legal team was going to let him take those answers and just send them off to Mueller. There's a reason why they are not going to be delivered. We heard this morning from Trump himself until next week. So something's going to happen once those answers are received by Mueller. But in a typical litigation scenario, and I want people to understand this, normally if you get evasive answers or incomplete answers to written questions, you can move to compel. You can go to court and say, Judge, I need better answers. You don't get that option here. And because you don't have that option, Mueller's either going to take what he gets from Trump and then try to subpoena Trump to show up to answer questions directly, or he's going to say, look, I already have this information anyway. I just wanted to see if I could catch Trump in a gotcha situation. We're going to know what's going to happen once Mueller gets those answers.
Does this signal to you, Nelson, this is the final piece in the Mueller probe, the fact that the president says these questions are going to be going in, rather the answers to the questions going next week?
Well, look, the way prosecutors build their cases is they start from the outside and they move in toward the center, toward the top of the organization. Clearly, you'd want to have all your ducks in a row if you're Robert Mueller before you get the president's answers to questions. Now, written questions, as Katie was just saying, written questions are not the gold standard for how we get to the truth. When your kid comes home past midnight and parks the car in the front yard, you don't leave a list of written questions for your kid to answer in the morning. You want to look him or her right in the eye and cross-examine the answers you get about where they were before they came home. This has the feel of a little bit of kabuki theater. There's some written answers being prepared. I think Mueller still has it in his head that he would like to get Donald Trump before the grand jury. And in fact, there's some suggestion that there might be some secret sealed litigation already between Mueller and a mystery witness on exactly that.
But Nelson, why would the president say that he wrote the answers himself? Is there a reason for that? Because doesn't everybody assume that nothing's going to get into Robert Mueller's hands without every single lawyer for Trump eyeballing every, dotted I and crossed T?
Well, look, it's always about him, isn't it? And of course he's going to say that he doesn't need lawyers because he knows all this stuff. It's so easy for him. The ironic thing here is that by saying, yeah, I answered all the questions myself, he makes it so much harder later on for him to walk away from answers that turn out to be inconvenient. Really, frankly, not the move you'd advise your client to make.
Do you think, Katie, he said that because he's trying to imply, I'm innocent, this was so easy, I just got these answers out there? And if that's the case, why did it take this long for him to finally answer them?
I think everything with Trump is probably an exercise in futility if you're internally working as his legal team. But this is the reality, Alex. If we're gunning towards an impeachment scenario, because I do not think Mueller's going to say, here's an indictment for Donald Trump. If we're gunning towards an impeachment scenario, then it has to be political. It has to be the court of public opinion. And so Donald Trump's going to say, hey, public, I answered the questions that Mueller posed to me. I have nothing to hide. So he's feeding his base. He's trying to tell his supporters and his surrogates, here's more talking points for you to be able to pitch maybe tomorrow morning on the Sunday morning shows about the fact that I've answered these questions and Mueller's just not satisfied because it's just a witch hunt.
Nelson, you just said something, and I want to pick up on that because you addressed this in a Politico magazine article that you wrote, that public records had indicated Mueller had already subpoenaed the president. Talk about that you said there was some legal litigation that already gone down.
Yeah, there's some sealed litigation in the D.C. courts that's bounced back from the district court to the Court of Appeals, back to the district court, back to the Court of Appeals in rapid fire fashion. The action was filed on August 16th. If you remember, Rudy Giuliani said on August 15th, we're almost done with our opposition to filing to a subpoena motion. The very next day, this mystery litigation began. Only one judge has recused himself, from what we can tell from the records, from consideration on the case, and that's the one judge that Donald Trump appointed to this court. You put the pieces together, and it could well be the president who is litigating with Robert Mueller over a piece of secret litigation, perhaps a subpoena that Mueller has given to Trump, and which his lawyers are fighting.
Quickly, do you think
It
it's
certainly
possible?
would be. It certainly would be a good way for him to use this period before the midterms to make some significant progress on the case.
Okay, Katie, quickly weigh in on that possibility, yeah?
Maybe. I mean, it would be very interesting if it was, but I'd be shocked that Donald Trump could keep his mouth shut about that. If he got a subpoena from Mueller, I don't think anybody could keep his mouth shut about that. So maybe it is. It'd be exciting to find out, but maybe it's not, because maybe Trump would have talked about it by now.
Katie Phang and Nelson Cunningham, very good to see you both. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Outrage over Amazon. New York's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez leads the